They say that the future of humanity is virtual, a place where our personalities are uploaded, and every moment of our life is played out in cyberspace. But what do they know? Ford Mustang. The future belongs to those who build it.
Hockey New Zealand's coverage of the Ford National Hockey League is proudly brought to you by Ford New Zealand in association with our hosts Tauranga Hockey and the Tauranga City Council, and thanks to key partners TECT, Trillion Trust, Educare, and Vantage Windows and Doors, principal partner of Hockey New Zealand.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the Tauranga Hockey Centre at Blake Park in Mount Maunganui as we get ready for our second live stream game of the Ford National Hockey League between the Ricoh Capital Cobras and the Auckland men. This is now men's Challenge Shield action, the final round robin. Already today we've had the final round robin in the Women's K Cup, and I can let you know that it is going to be Northland up against North Harbour for the Women's K Cup title in 2019. And we already know that Auckland are going to be through to the Men's Challenge Shield final tomorrow as well. Capital are the defending champions. Hasn't quite gone their way this time in the National League, but still plenty to play for as we reach the business end of the Ford National League. I'm Brenton Vanessa-Roy, and with me in commentary this afternoon is Nigel Gregory. A very good afternoon to you, Nigel. A lovely sunny day that the bay's turned on again.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a rare treat for us at the moment. We've had a winter like everyone else, but beautiful playing conditions today. Bit of a breeze blowing across the turf, but I don't think that will affect play at all. Temperature not too hot for players. Be looking forward to seeing this game with Auckland having go through. Are they driving with the handbrake on for a while today? And Capital, what are they going to go into this game with, and what are they going to take out of this game? I don't imagine any of the players will be going too quietly today because there's reputations on the line, of course. We've also got the Vantage Black Sticks who've got Olympic qualifying in their sights, and I think there'll be some players here looking to make a statement during the course of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see the Capital Cobras team in front of us as well, and you've got a few players who played in the Oceania Cup for the Black Sticks, and Jacob Smith and Dane Lett, of course, and then you've got guys like Blair Hilton and Daniel Harris as well, Harry Muskimen, who have played for the Black Sticks previously. Absolutely. And want to be part of that Olympic qualifier as well against Korea coming up in just a few weeks' time now as well. And then the Auckland side, who are at top of the table going into this one. And the name there that we all love seeing back is Simon Child. First time back at this level in the Ford National Hockey League since the Rio 2016 Olympics. Had a horrible time with injuries, but he's back there alongside his brother as well, Marcus Child. Two great players for New Zealand and looking to guide Auckland to that men's Challenge Shield title. And you see Simon Child there just on his haunches, centre of screen, talking about the message he wants to put across to his players as they get ready for this one as well. Auckland.
It's interesting to see when you get a player with that much experience as to what that translates to a side. Is it purely knowledge? Is it the way that he calms the players around them? Does it offer them surety in that they know that if they get under pressure, there's someone who's got some answers there? And certainly I imagine will lift the confidence in the players around him. And given that they've made it through to the final tomorrow, that would seem to be the way that week's gone for him. For him personally, I would imagine it must be extremely satisfying to battle through those injuries and to get back on the playing field and to be at a national tournament, and tomorrow playing in a national tournament final again. We'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just adding to what has been a storied career already for Simon Child, 274 games for New Zealand, but has been unable to play for New Zealand since the Rio Olympics because of a horrible hip injury sustained at the start of 2017 over in India, and only really now getting back to full fitness. So Auckland get us underway in this first live stream game of the Men's Challenge Shield of the Ford National Hockey League here at Tauranga Hockey Centre, Lake Park in Mount Maunganui. Lovely day, as we mentioned. And Auckland straight away on attack and forcing Capital deep.
First long corner of the game.
And well cut out, though, by Capital. The Rico Capital Cobras, coached by Hemant Lala, who won the title last year. They're 7th overall, but they're not going to be going back-to-back in 2019. Auckland trying to win their 6th title this year and their first since 2014. The Auckland men, coached by James Grant. As Cobras now on the Capital side with their first real use of possession on their stick as they look to switch play.
And looking to see whether these teams are going to use pace throughout the game, or is there going to be some periods of patience and just controlling the ball and the field for a while to see how they establish any form of dominance, of course, across the game.
Joel Rintala, one of the Capital players, who's equal top goal scorer at the moment, so watch out for him. Along with Sam Lane of Canterbury and Dylan Thomas of Central as well in the men's competition. As Auckland now deep in their own territory, looking for a way round and miscontrolled their opportunity here for Capital. So make their way back in the defensive zone of Auckland, coming straight through the middle now, looking out towards that right side. Inside the circle, reverse stick. Opportunity here. No, away, cleared by Auckland, and they keep hold of possession as well, keep it in play. Can they exit safely as well? So just take their time here, just shielding the ball away from the opposition player. Now some help comes from Capital. He finds the pass, and Auckland switch the play from their right to left. Expertly done. And now opportunity for them to go straight back on attack.
Some real patience exhibited by the Auckland side there. At no time did they look flustered. They were under pressure, but knew what they were doing and just created an outlet from there, and that shows some real strength in their defensive patterns.
So Auckland, back at it, cut out by Canterbury, by Capital, excuse me. Canterbury involved earlier today in the women's action. Unfortunately for them, they're 1-0 win over North Harbour, not enough to see them through to the Women's K-Cup final. They'll be playing for bronze tomorrow. Will Canterbury, and it'll be Harbour, the defending champions, taking on Northland, who are looking for their very first K-Cup title.
I caught a bit of the Northland game prior to this, and the skills on display were absolutely fantastic. And you could see the confidence in the players as they got towards the end. They knew they'd secured victory, and they'll be very excited about the opportunity tomorrow afternoon. I can see that in their eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Northland, huge result for them. And when you got the likes of Stacey Mickelson in your team, and Ella Gunson, Brooke Neal, 3 quality Black Sticks players who will be desperate to lead Northland to their maiden title. They have to overcome a pretty determined North Harbour side, of course, as I mentioned, are defending champions. And we know what the men's final will be as well. Auckland will be playing North Harbour. North Harbour earlier today as opportunity for Auckland.
That was going for 6 if he got hold of it, I think.
Huge swing.
Swing of that. Interesting you mentioned Stacey Mickelson before, again, as we mentioned Simon Child. Stacey Mickelson just had that ability during the game to get hold of the ball, command territory and space, slow the game down if need be, or equally so, injected herself through the midfield and really, really carved up the opposition in that game. And it'll be fascinating to see how she puts that against North Harbour tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, all the Black Sticks on show, past and present, was so influential in that game, wasn't it? It was great to see Kayla Whitelock and Emily Gaddam as well out there for the Central side. They're going to be playing off for bronze, unfortunately for them, but having them back at this level is great as well. 2 decorated Black Sticks players.
Yeah, and working, just work all day long. None of that has disappeared from their arsenal.
So because of North Harbour's win over Canterbury in the men's action earlier today, they have booked their place in the final up against this Auckland side, who are just playing for top spot, I suppose, and just to really prepare for tomorrow, because it's going to be a short turnaround, some 24 hours, and they'll be back in action in the men's Challenge Shield final against Harbour. Capital, the defending champions, will be playing for bronze in 2019.
Yeah, interesting to see with Auckland. I think just so far what we've seen defensively, when under pressure, they look very sure and confident in their outlets as they, again, are down in their own penalty corner, their circle at the moment, but again, coming away from there. Interesting to see whether they're just getting their patterns established and or today. Been interesting to see are they holding something back for the final tomorrow. There's the famous mention of the All Blacks years ago when they used the teabag line out to score in the World Cup final. Have Auckland got a bag of tricks that they're holding a little bit closed at the moment and for tomorrow, and will they play a bit reserved today? But certainly looking to keep hold of the ball, moving it. They've turned it over a couple of times, but that's certainly been up in the opposition's half. So, pretty safe to get away with it in there.
Yeah, certainly an opportunity for Auckland to maybe rest a few players as well. With that final in mind, it's been a tough program for all the teams at this Ford National Hockey League. 6 games in the last 8 days, a 7th to come for all the teams tomorrow, so it'll be 7 and 9. It's tough on some of the bodies playing at this high level, at such high intensity. There's an opportunity down for Auckland, reverse stick, kick save, and then I think that's collected one of the players in the head. That's nasty.
Yep.
That's very nasty. You don't like to see that. It looks like he's all right, but that was full on the face coming in off the kick save from the keeper. Somehow just flicked up high. And
just came off the kicker, did it?
Yeah.
Just got an angle and up it went. Yep. The keeper's head just momentarily there went back a bit, which opens the face of the foot, angled it up into the Auckland number 12.
Jonty Keeney it was. I hope he's okay. It looked like he was able to get up all right, which is a good sign, but those can be nasty.
Yeah, if you get a bit of... Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you get in and around the eye where you've the bone's close to the skin in there, those cuts happen pretty quickly. So he'll be sore, if not cut, after that. And you get a nanosecond to see that ball. And as you can see, he didn't. So
yeah, what it means, it's the penalty corner, the first for Auckland. And Marcus Child will take for the Auckland men. Need to get on the scoreboard early here. And a great opportunity. And it's a wonderful save, is it? No, it's found the
bottom right-hand corner.
Wow, down the outstretched keeper's glove and stick. Tried to get to that, but beating him to it past the outstretch, finds its way in, and that's wonderfully struck, the number 11 for Auckland, and Hamish McGeorge.
Well, that's how quick that
congratulated by his team.
I thought he'd put that over the sideline, but it had bounced off the backboard and then hit the keepers. It's gone there, hit the keeper, then over the backline. That's how fast that drag was.
Yeah, and that's what confused us up here as well. I saw it go past the goal, but that's because it actually rebounded off the keeper, so he was not fast enough to get down to it. It was a good effort by the Capital Cobras keeper, but not good enough.
And that one's lifted, so...
lifted that time.
Canterbury Cobras. Capital Cobras.
That time by Nick Finlayson with the high lift. So it's an easy free hit for the officials to award to Capital. Now looking to bounce back. So Auckland scoring first from the stick of Hamish McGeorge from a penalty corner. Wonderfully worked, and you got a feel for Jonty Kenny as well, who took the blow to the head, but I suppose it was worthwhile because it earned his side a penalty corner, and from it, Auckland scoring. I'm sure, by the looks of things, a bit of ice on it, and he'll be back out there. These hockey players are certainly a lot tougher than I am. That's for sure.
They're pretty unforgiving, those hockey balls, and when they get you, they get you. And but it's interesting. We were talking earlier about how many games players are playing in the course of a week. Hockey players grow up in this environment. Other times you look at teams saying, gosh, we need an amount of time between a provincial clash, but it's just the nature of the way hockey is played. And when you get to a tournament, it's day after day after day, and you get used to that. But at this time of the week, I would imagine the lotions and potions are out to preserve bodies. There'll be a bit more strapping tape used here and there. And the ice baths and hot balls will be getting a bit of visit, I imagine, from a few players.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. It's when the bodies are pushed to the limits over this finals weekend, and we'll have the finals for you of both the Women's K Cup and the Men's Challenge Shield. Auckland, the team in that blue and white here, will be in action in that final. Capital, unfortunately for them, the defending champs won't be, but they'll still be in action. We'll have you their match, their bronze medal game tomorrow as well, up against Canterbury. As Auckland back with their stick, a bit of space to run into. Opportunity here down this right-hand flank, and they find the cross into the circle. They're as patient as they have been all game, no matter where they've had the ball, whether it be deep in their own territory or in Capital's half. Willing to take their time and find the gap. Now making their way into the side of the circle. Marcus Child with a shot and a goal.
That is fantastic.
I think it was Marcus Child. Was such catch the replay of that one, but what a shot that was.
And just as we talked to the patients, they just held the ball, moved the ball, suddenly in the circle, another pass, and there they go.
That wind up, and look at that. Oh, the keeper could hardly put a glove up before that was past it. What a goal by the Auckland side, and now it's 2-0.
Geez, that was quick. And again, you could see in the lead up to that, the Capital side had moved forward, got in towards the 22, so thinking, oh, well, they're building up here. But then, in the space of a minute, it's down. Auckland got into the 22 twice, then into the circle, and then a stunning finish to that to score Auckland's second goal.
Yeah, I think Auckland have shown the way they've started this game, they're going to enjoy themselves. They've got the comfort of knowing they're already in the final. They can play a bit more relaxed. And they are treating us so far. A well-worked penalty corner goal. Absolute thunderbolt for the second.
And just over that left-hand shoulder, and that's at that speed, so hard to get anywhere near. And he had the space to have the shot, but that was a great shot as well. Again, Auckland here now just confident in the back and just the movement of the ball. Very sure of what they're doing.
Yeah, so comfortable in possession, aren't they? No matter where they are, no matter who has got the stick.
Yeah, there we go. And then we're back in the 22. Just a turnover there.
There's good work there by Capital, but only momentarily. In fact, he gets the ball back rather fortunately. And now dicing with death. This plays straight back to an Auckland player. Tries to cross across goal, and they keep it with a timely interception there. Back to the 22, and Auckland back in possession. Simon Child showing certainly over any fitness concerns there as he throws himself there at the ball. He's now working down this left flank. In fact, they'll change the point of attack, make their way over the right. And a rare mistrap by Auckland that time. Dwayne Rousel unable to take that under control. And now the Capital Cobras trying to turn defence into attack, but there's a poor pass there by Capital. But then another turnover as Auckland give it straight back to Capital. But Auckland swarming, three players on one. And really, Capital does amazingly well to keep hold of position there. Going down a dark alley. And now its way to a lead runner just on the circle edge. Earning a free hit. Now trying to find its way through Benedict van Workum. Now back to the edge.
And Auckland just populating that circle quickly and effectively. And again, then the rewards from that is another entry into the Capital 22.
Well, that's Jonty Kenny as well, so he's obviously fine. And a rare chance for them to go on attack. Trailing 2-0. Top of the table, Aucklanders running away with this one, looking to secure a top spot for that final, which they'll play in tomorrow, the Challenge Shield up against the North Harbour. Capital making their way through that congested midfield, making their way to the edge of the circle. Ball just running away towards the baseline. In fact, it did, I think, run over the baseline. So,
and that left-hand side for the Capital seems to be where they're making the most progress. Getting into the 22 and then again into the circle on a number of occasions, especially early in this first quarter. But Auckland have managed to shut that down and back in position and working their way out of the defence. Capital not heading right too often. We'll interested to see whether they can find a hole down that side or continue with that left-hand attack they're using.
There was a touch too much on the ball and just unable to keep it in as it went over that baseline. Capital, and now Auckland looking to just pass their way. No big overheads or no big passes, mostly short passing. Now a nice angled ball onto the edge of the circle and just trying to cross it in near post and see if we can get a deflection.
There'll be some talk in the Capital defence just to have that much time and space. In
so
the
easy, wasn't it?
Corner. Yeah, absolutely. A couple of short passes and bang, 50 metres, and you're in the 22 again.
Now Auckland going back to go forward. Nice patient build-up, which has been their calling card so far in this game. Almost 15 minutes gone in the game. It's the final round robin. A bit of a dead rubber in some respects. Auckland already qualified for the final. Capital already assured of going through to the bronze medal match. That's because earlier today, North Harbour beat Canterbury. So North Harbour are through to the gold medal match, and Canterbury will play for bronze. Those games we'll have for you tomorrow here on our live streaming. Make sure you're back then as well.
Certainly hope this sunshine follows us into tomorrow's finals day as well. It makes for some pleasant playing conditions for the players.
I say there wasn't much better sight than flying in this morning. That beautiful morning that the mount turned on, and it's what's continued throughout the day.
Well, it's been a bit of a rare treat for us. I was talking to a brother in Lower Hutt last week and was far too excited about the fact that I could hang some washing in the sunshine for the first time in goodness knows how long. So we've had a winter like everybody else, but we've had a nice week of weather and certainly looking good today as we end the first quarter.
We do indeed, in Auckland, leading by 2-0. First from a penalty corner, a second from a field goal, an absolute thunderbolt, the second one. The first was scored by Hamish McGeorge from a penalty corner, and then the second one just from the top of the circle flew by the hapless keeper in goal. So it's Auckland, the top of the table. Aucklanders in this men's challenge shield who are leading the Ricoh Capital Cobras 2-0 after that opening period. And Nigel, that's a fine performance so far by Auckland. The Capital have had their moments, but Auckland just so clinical when they've had their chances.
And I don't think Capital have had a shot on goal yet. Again, especially early on, made some good progress down their left-hand side, got into the circle a couple of times, but Auckland have just been able to shut that down each time, and then as they went up from there, just their strength in the midfield, just controlling the ball, and I think leading up to that second goal really showed their skill set. Had a probe, didn't quite get there, just went back quietly, then just changed a couple of angles in, and then suddenly, again, just the amount of space that the goal scorer could find for that second goal in the circle and plenty of time and space for a shot. We saw also at the end of the game down Auckland's left-hand side, the long ball that got through deep into the 22. Capital will have to look at that, about the amount of space that they're giving away and what adjustments they can make to shut down this very, very clever Auckland side.
So the whiteboard's out for the Auckland coaching staff as well. James Grant with the little magnets on the whiteboard as well, saying what he wants tactically from his Auckland men. Likewise for the Capital Cobras and him and Lala.
There's a smiling umpire, which you don't see every day, but it's interesting. We're looking at the umpires and they often say it's a compliment to them that we haven't really noticed them in this game. The game's just flowed. The players have gone, no, I don't think anyone's been pushing the limits too much as far as the rules go, so it allows the game to open up and flow. Hockey, of course, in recent years has probably loosened the strings a bit to allow the game to flow. Not too pedantic on exactly where things are taken from and the such like, but you've got the autoplay, which allows the game to just keep going and just keep going. And you look at the umpires and they take a similar approach to the game and saying, how do we get the best out of this game? How do we make this exciting for the viewers? How do we make it enjoyable for the players?
And straight away, almost from the start of the second quarter, wow. Auckland have a third. Capital unable to control the overhead on the edge of their circle. Auckland quickly take the free hit. Capital caught asleep, and it is a third to the Auckland men, and what a goal that was, just from the right-hand side of the circle. That time, Shea Iswa, a fine strike. You see the replay there, and the keeper couldn't even get his glove and stick down in time. I think it was just the pace. I don't think there was a deflection. There was just the speed of the shot from Iswa. So Auckland, seconds after the restart, 3-0. They now lead
Wow.
Capital.
And you look at the attack there. Got in behind a defender, but it was the pace from collecting the ball to getting himself into some real space for that shot, and it just a free shot at goal that he created, of course, and the reward again. And then when you look at sides, when they're looking at their numbers, how many entries into the 22, how many into the circle, how many shots, I think Auckland's stats would look pretty healthy at the moment. Shots on goal and goals, very high conversion rate for them today.
Yeah, incredibly clinical. 1 penalty corner, they scored from that. 2 field goals now. Other than that, they haven't peppered the goal. They've been very clinical, and
Yeah.
both goals they've scored from the field as well. Pretty much unsavable.
Absolutely.
Especially the second stunning shot from the top of the circle. And now Auckland go running once more. This time Joe Hanks down that right-hand flank before he gives up possession. So a rare error from Auckland. In a very rampant mood here at the Tauranga Hockey Centre at Blake Park in Mount Maunganui.
And they're certainly working as hard on the way back as they are forward. They're not allowing Capital space. Even when they're getting the ball and making some movement, someone's on their shoulder, and then in the background you can see the defensive setup getting in place too.
Yeah, so they're doing a bit of a half press. They're usually having one player pressing high. The others are sitting back a bit and giving the Capital defenders time, but they're just not giving them options to pass. They pretty much have to go back or sideways, and that's only the real options for Capital, other than really having a bit of a hit and hope, and that's a good rate pass.
Yes.
Cross-field ball that time by Capital. They make their way on the edge of the circle, so they managed to pick their way through that very congested middle third of the field of Auckland.
First penalty corner.
And they've won a penalty corner as well, so great work that time. It was Benedict van Workum, number 4, with the corneros, who has got the penalty corner. So Auckland will have their defensive unit coming out first time. The protection will come out for them. And the Capital Cobras penalty corner unit, see what they can come up with.
Here comes the instructions from the bench.
Yep, brought over by Dane Lett, part of that Black Stick squad, which is at the Oceania Cup in Rockhampton. And will be part of their squad, no doubt, for their Olympic qualifiers against South Korea in just over a month's time. He's played more than 50 games for New Zealand, a lot of experience, both nationally and internationally. And now the penalty corner comes from Capital. What can they come up with? It's a great effort. Can they get the rebound? No, but
Penalty
it's going to be a penalty stroke.
Yep, foot on the line. So yeah, well worked penalty corner. Got the deflection heading in towards the goal. Auckland defender on the line, hit his foot or a leg, I would suggest, and therefore so Capital have got the penalty shot.
It'll be Dane Lett to take, the man we're just talking about. Gone with the experience to take the penalty stroke. Auckland keeper just getting all his gear back on, getting ready for this. Chance to put Capital back on the board and back in the game.
They only had to make one save so far this in this game. So.
And we just saw it seconds ago.
Yep.
And a great save.
That is stunning. That is stunning to read it and to get down that low.
Down
that far.
low to his right. Unbelievable save. We'll see a replay of this one. How quick is this? How he just read it perfectly, guessed right, went right,
Yeah.
and look at that. Wonderful stick save by the Auckland keeper, Ruan Bezadenhout.
As if their team didn't need enough of a boost. So you've got the attackers have scored the goal and a fantastic save from the penalty shot there.
Bezadenhout just he wanted in and part of the fun, didn't he? The Auckland
Absolutely.
forwards were having all the fun, scoring 3 goals. He said, I want to be a part of this. And they're just so buoyant. This Auckland side. Capital looking to take it quickly. The long corner. Now working their way down this right-hand side. A bit of space for Dane Lett to come into. See if he can cross it into the circle and find a Capital stick. It goes out again off an Auckland stick. Capital remain in possession inside the 22. They'll go back to start with. It's not controlled brilliantly. A bit of a miscontrol. So they have to go right back now almost to their 22. Just trying to work some angles here and try and find some space. Earning a free hit is let down that right-hand side for Capital. Just had that penalty stroke saved. Certainly one for the goalkeeping highlight reel, that one is, from Bezadenhout. There's now Auckland looking to break, and Marcus Child.
Head
Big
to the
clash
thigh, I
with
think,
Letts.
Yep.
And Letts got some of the bigger thighs going around the National Hockey League as well. He's a solid unit, Dane Letts.
He's just brushed that off. Now we've got something heading into the rarefied stratosphere.
Yeah, that one's gone well above the camera line, that's for sure. Tried to find the Auckland player right on the baseline there. And Auckland do come up with possession, so after being inside their 22, now they're deep inside Capitals. Good to penetrate that circle, but Capital do well that time. Oh, but then a costly giveaway. Auckland will have it back. A chance for them to go back into the other circle. Is that the stick of Marcus Child, who elects to go backs before going forwards. Goes back to Daniel Panchep, and then changes tack to the right-hand side, and Capital managed to cut it out, and they'll come up with possession. Now they come down that left-hand flank. Auckland cut it out and have possession. Now quickly making their way over halfway, and look out, this is where Auckland can be dangerous as they quickly turn that defence into attack. There's an option down that side for Xander Fraser for Auckland. Now the stick of
real skill on show.
Child.
Again, just have a go. Doesn't work, where do I go? And then safely round the back, and here they come again.
Yeah, Marcus Child just showing his experience there. More than 150 games for New Zealand. Well, Simon Child certainly deserves the accolades for his career. Marcus Child in more recent times has been a mainstay of the Vantage Black Sticks.
And it's just that confidence in the skills. You could see they and in their game plan. They know what they're doing. They know they've got the skills to carry it out. And Auckland look to be very sure of themselves in this game and happy to try things.
Simon Charles has given it away, and now Capital go into the Auckland circle, and there's worrying signs there. A needless giveaway by Simon Child. Capital sprung forward, but they were unable to execute once they made their way into the Auckland circle. So it remains Auckland 3, Capital 0. But, geez, we've had some goal scoring opportunities, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Hasn't been dull.
Yeah, if someone suggests this was a dead rubber, you say it's not showing on the faces of the players, and they're certainly not playing like that. Auckland, we considered at the start of the game, would they play with the handbrake on? It certainly doesn't seem to be the case. And oftentimes you'll hear that comment that winning is a habit, and it would seem they've taken that attitude into this game. It's not sort of, we'll just quietly cruise through here and then play tomorrow. It's let's keep our game going, let's get more.
Oh, Capital, reverse stick from that left-hand side, wonderfully done. Didn't seem like there was much on, went to the reverse and straight past Poseidon, who that time to his left, he did not have the answer. And so Capital on the board, 3-1 Auckland now lead. Let's see if we can get a number. But that was great work just down that left-hand side, reverse stick.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
Cross goal.
One of those opportunities, the ball just popped up out of that tackle and just, he had a fraction of a second to create a shot at goal, did it, and well taken. It'll give Capital a little bit of a boost, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Joel Wintala. I'll have to check that, but he is one of the top goal scorers in the competition. That will be his now 7th goal of this Ford National Hockey League. And Capital back into it. This is what we're going to have for the rest of this game. We're going to be treated, that's for sure. 4 goals already, and we're only just halfway through this second period. Capital back with the ball at their stick, trying to find a bit of space down this right-hand flank. Now back at the stick of the goal scorer, I believe, in Aaron Taylor. And now back into the circle and just over the top of the goalkeeper.
Yes, they're
warning side for Auckland.
Yep. Interestingly, the Capital is getting a little bit of a go-forward ball, which will give them a bit of a confidence. And I think probably what they're doing in the second quarter that they didn't quite manage in the first is getting those shots on goal.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're certainly looking more threatening in this quarter after Auckland, just mere seconds after the restart, made it 3-0 after scoring twice. One from a penalty corner, the opener from a penalty corner, the second from a field goal, and then scoring from another field goal to start the second period to build that 3-0 advantage. But Capital have just pulled one back.
We haven't seen a lot of high ball, but interesting, Capital starting to use that. I think that Auckland are strong defensively in the midfield. I think, well, how do we get past that? And probably one of the first times so far in this game that we've seen a change of plan from the Capital side, and just adding in some new ideas to try and break down this Auckland side. unsuccessful that time, but just say the definition of lunacy is to do the same thing over and over. Capital not doing that. They're looking at new ideas and how they can make some progress, and certainly it's getting some results and some rewards there with shots on goal and a goal in this second quarter.
Now Simon Child with the overhead looking for, I think, Lala. In fact, Joe Hanks down that right-hand flank. Comes up a bit short, but Auckland have possession inside Capital territory. They'll go back inside their 22. Just trying to work the angles and try and find an opening. Capital players aren't going with the full press, so there's time for their defenders to try and pick up the pass. Looking to that left-hand side. And now this is Lala, and that left-hand side, lucky to get away and avoid the Capital player there.
Yep.
There's the outstretched hands of Daniel Harris, another player who's played for New Zealand. Now Rintala with a bit of space to work into. He makes his way midfield, but then loses it. Auckland coming up with possession through firstly Jared Panchia, another member of that Black Six Oceania Cup squad. Hasn't had to do much today. His teammates have really given him an armchair ride so far, but he's another player of immense quality.
Interesting just seeing a bit of work there off the ball from Simon Child. Just standing, talking, pointing and giving direction to the defensive unit as he went up, and then just when there was a bit of a heat on someone, he just strolled over and said, "Here, give it to me, I'll take care of that." And again, that's that experience and skill, a real benefit to this Auckland side.
They go back almost to their own goal again, Auckland. It's Hamish McGeorge, the first goal scorer from the penalty corner, with it now. Go back inside the circle. And now Capital with more of a press as well, making things difficult and almost coming up with it. In fact, they do now have possession as well. So good work by Capital. Coming with a bit of a half press to start and then coming with a full press. Auckland make the mistake. Capital now with possession. Opportunity inside the circle. Can they find an opening? No, they can't find an opening or a foot is the answer. And Auckland back with it. And Auckland again will be patient, but they come up with another turnover. So Capital are starting to really find their way into this game. Unfortunately, it's come after going 3 goals down. They've cut the deficit to 2. Auckland again trying to clear their lines, but only just outside their 22. Now Van Workham gets us back underway. And now it's to that right-hand corner of Capital's attack, and they're unable to find the ball they want. It goes over the baseline.
And again, Brendan, I think that's an indication of the change. There was a bit of space on that left-hand side. They didn't take it. They came back down right in this quarter, so they've changed their structure and their thinking and have found some holes in there. But interesting to see whether they look again at that left-hand side that prospered for them early on in this game.
As Auckland go to that side, their right-hand side, Capital's left. And Capital again coming with that press, harassing the player in possession, but Auckland do well to make it to halfway and then I think earn a free hit, which they will take quickly, I think. Jared Panchia, in fact, they decide to just slow it down. Chance to make a couple of subs, and it has to be taken back inside Auckland territory as well, says the officials.
Just for a moment, just slowing things down a bit.
Well, this game probably needed that, didn't it? Because it's been end-to-end stuff. The players certainly not relaxing ahead of finals day tomorrow, that's for sure, with both sides already knowing their fate as far as who they'll be playing tomorrow and what game they'll be playing in.
Yeah, well, Capital have certainly dominated for the last probably 8 to 10 minutes. And Auckland will be starting to ask questions of themselves. Okay, what do we need to change to get back into this game?
Yeah, well, since that third goal for Auckland, it really has been all Capital. They've dominated this period. It's 1-1 in this quarter after Auckland struck twice in the opening one. So can they get another one before halftime? Just 2.5 minutes remaining in the quarter here. As looking long Capital and finding a stick and Workham. Workham unable to find a foot with an Auckland player to earn a penalty corner, so Auckland have a chance to come away with it.
Gentle little elbow in the back and then a stick hanging around and a gentle discussion between the two players.
Yeah, a bit of a chat. Harrison Lawson of Auckland having a chat with his opposite from the Capital Cobras. And got a bit of, I think you can hear a bit of chat as well coming through from the bench as well.
Yeah.
Between maybe the two coaches. And Emmett Lala and James Grant, the Capital and Auckland coaches respectively. As Auckland playing comfort, relative comfort anyway, in front of their goal, in spite of dive from the Capital players trying to intercept a pass. Now looking long, it's going to go over the sideline, so Capital back with it.
Will this left side bring them some roll? Yeah, that's a good ball into the 22, into the circle, reverse stick shot, went across the face of the goal. But again,
looking for a deflection, wasn't he?
Yep.
It's a great effort, just no players quite reading that and attacking it. So it sails away, but Capital still camped inside the Auckland 22, the defensive zone. And now Capital trying to find a ball in the circle, but only found an Auckland stick. And now Auckland a chance to clear their lines and break. Joe Hanks with it, but he gives it away. So now Capital have it back once more on their stick. Trying to find that ball inside the circle. It's deflected back to the stick of a Capital player, and a touch from Capital, but wide.
Wow, that's another great opportunity they created there. Just good skills and some good vision, moving the ball quickly. And again, the key difference for them now, I believe, is just getting into that circle and then getting shots on goal.
Number 2, Daniel Harris, I think it was, for Capital, who had that opportunity right in front of the keeper, but going wide if he did get a touch on it. Now Auckland just trying to settle things down, try and get a spell of possession, but they just can't hold possession like they were.
No.
The first quarter compared to this is chalk and cheese, it really is. Auckland had so much time on the ball and were just so relaxed with the ball at their stick. This quarter has been complete polar opposite, as Capital have harassed Auckland, and they've got a goal back in this game as we go to half-time here. It is Auckland 3, Capital 1, but Nigel, that's a fine quarter from the Capital men. They are showing they are not going to go down without a fight in this one.
Very excited that, and they'll have some confidence to head into that second half. We'll look forward to what they bring to the game. I just think they'll be really, really pumped after making some changes to their game and getting some real rewards out of that.
So it's halftime here at the Tauranga Hockey Centre at Blake Park in Mount Maunganui. The final round action in the Men's Challenge Shield. It's Auckland 3, leading the Capital Cobras 1.
They say that the future of humanity is virtual, a place where our personalities are uploaded, and every moment of our life is played out in cyberspace. But what do they know? Ford Mustang. The future belongs to those who build it.
Hockey New Zealand's coverage of the Ford National Hockey League is proudly brought to you by Ford New Zealand in association with our hosts, Tauranga Hockey and the Tauranga City Council, and thanks to key partners Tect, Trillion Trust, Educare, and Vantage Windows and Doors, principal partner of Hockey New Zealand.
Welcome back to the Tauranga Hockey Centre in Blake Park, Mount Maunganui. Half-time here in men's Challenge Shield action at the Ford National Hockey League. And it is the Auckland men leading the Ricoh Capital Cobras 3-1. This is final round action. We already know that Auckland will be playing in the final tomorrow, and the Capital Cobras will be playing for bronze. But it's been a very exciting game of hockey. Brenton Van Nistelrooy here with the call alongside Nigel Gregory for this men's Challenge Shield action. And we've been treated to some very good hockey, as the highlights of the first half will show. Firstly, this is the goal from the penalty corner, and expertly over the glove, and the desperate attempt from the keeper in goal. That was the first goal to Auckland's Hamish McGeorge. That made it 1-0. Their first penalty corner turned into a goal. And this time, watch this one, because it goes quickly. Yeah. An absolute thunderbolt past the outstretched glove. And then the third... Excuse, just coming out here as a replay of that goal. And in fact, I think we saw the goal scorer there was number 8, Kim Kingston. So we can credit him with that thunderbolt, and he deserves. Now this is the third, and this one coming across goal, and it was number 2, Shea Iswa. So that was 3-0 Auckland, and that was just seconds after the restart to start the second period. But after that moment, it was all Capital. They earned themselves a penalty stroke. Dane Lett stepping up to the mark, and what a save by Vazadenhout. Kept it at 3-0 to Auckland, and you just thought it wasn't Capital's day. But Capital continued to build into the match, created opportunities, get circle penetrations, and then the reverse stick coming in there from their top goal scorer in Joel Rintala, and that made it the halftime score, which it is 3-1. But it's been a thrilling match of hockey, and if we're going to have anything like that in the second half, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how this goes. I said Capital will be really confident after that last quarter, really got a lot out of the game. So you would imagine they're going to keep going at that, and they'll get some real confidence in there. Auckland, do they go, right, how do we re-establish ourselves in this game? Or do they go, look, this looks pretty good, we've got an eye on tomorrow, do we button off? Going from the way they started this game, I think they'll want to get back into it and really want to sort of get a bit of dominance and control, and again some confidence in what they're doing, because Capital undid them a little bit in that second quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And Auckland building up for the final, certainly want to have some momentum going their way, and won't want to feel like they've been bullied in a game, which they started being in that second quarter after looking so comfortable to start with. They had such a swagger about them early on, didn't they?
Absolutely, and you'll be when the Harbour spies are looking at this game, they'll be interested in seeing where the holes appeared. I would imagine that first quarter they can crack in for a fight tomorrow. Capital showed there's some ground to be made, and will they be looking at technically where things are going in, where the holes were? Was it a mental thing? Did Auckland button off for a while? There's plenty of food for thought for the Harbour side for tomorrow's final that we'll have here for you tomorrow.
Yeah, this is just the second game we've brought you. We're going to bring you 8 games over this weekend here at the Tauranga Hockey Centre. And a big thank you to all our Ford NHL partners. Firstly, Ford, the naming rights sponsor of the Ford National Hockey League, Tauranga City Council, TECT, Trillion Trust, Educare, Kookaburra and Vantage, who are the principal partner of Hockey New Zealand. Without all your support, we would not be able to do this. So we've got a couple of games remaining today. We've got the Women's National Senior Tournament Final, that between Tauranga and Tasman. So the locals are involved in that one, so expect a good crowd here at Tauranga Hockey Centre. And then at 6:30 p.m. we have the Men's National Senior Tournament Final, that between Canterbury and North Harbour as well. So 2 games still to come after this second half action here in the Ford National Hockey League. And then we'll have both bronze medal matches tomorrow for you, women's and men, and the women's and men's finals of this Ford National Hockey League. So hope you are enjoying the coverage wherever you may be. Strap yourselves in because we're in for a lot of top quality level hockey.
And you can't underestimate the benefit to the local hockey community here in Tauranga. Having this level of hockey here just gives such a learning experience for players in and around the place, a real sense of excitement about seeing the best players in the country on display, and the hoteliers and restaurant owners will be very, very happy with the patronage that they've enjoyed this week too. So a real benefit to having it in here. I know the players enjoy coming to Tauranga. It's a beautiful place, and with the weather's like this, a heck of a place to be playing your hockey. So it's been a great week, and looking forward to an exciting conclusion to proceedings tomorrow. And the Tauranga hockey side, the women's side in the National Senior Tournament final, that's going to be a real boost for local players, and hopefully we'll get a big crowd in to see what should be a fantastic game.
Yeah, from 4:30 and up against Anita McLaren's Tasman team. A number of her former schoolmates are members of that team. One of her best mates is competing, so grew up in Nelson, Anita McLaren, so she's got close ties to that one, and she'll be joining us in commentary alongside myself, Brenton Finisora, for that one. But that's still to come. Right now, we have men's Ford National Hockey League action, the Men's Challenge Shield, and it is Auckland who are leading Capital by that scoreline there, 3-1 after 2 periods, and about to get underway in this third quarter as well. Auckland players back out on the turf in front of us. They had a swagger about them early, but brought back down to the ground by a good comeback by Capital, who had a penalty stroke saved before they scored their first goal. So scoreline doesn't really indicate the way this game has gone so far.
Yeah, I'm no expert in body language, but just looking at the Auckland players, they've gone quietly back out onto the field there. Whereas you're looking at the Capital side, there's a spring in their step, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here in this third quarter at Tauranga Hockey Centre.
Certainly will, as Rico Capital Cobras in possession to start this second half, third quarter action. Nice stick work there by Kurt Lovett. Now back to Van Workum. Van Workum making his way under the edge of the circle, just trying to find a stick of a teammate. Fortunately for Auckland, it rebounds their way, but then they lose it through Marcus Child, I believe it was. Now, nice little turn there by the Capital player, and making his way quickly takes the free hit inside the circle. Can this top goal scorer add another one? Joel Rintala. That one just flashes wide, I think, off an Auckland player. So a let off for Auckland there, and again a bit of space for Rintala, and he shows how dangerous he can be. Already one goal this afternoon. Now Auckland looking to make their way with a bit of possession, but they turn it over. And Capital again making their way inside the circle. Reverse stack just flashes wide. Wow, it's a big spin and hit, all in one motion that time by Rowan Yeo. It goes wide. So let off again, and Capital continuing to press, continuing to give Auckland troubles here. Certainly wouldn't think this is 1v4 kind of matchup. Capital having all their way with Auckland since basically going 3 goals down. They have looked very good.
Capital have certainly populated the attacking 22 early on now. Auckland just a sole lead runner up front at the moment, the second one heading up to join him. But Capital certainly really in attack mode. Auckland, I think, is just looking to establish a little bit more control in here. But Capital have got 4 players around that ball.
As now Auckland trying to break this press of Capital. They're just on the edge of their 22, and they lose it. Capital come up with it, but then they win it back rather fortuitously. Goes back to Daniel Easton. He was lucky to get out of that one after coughing it up. Capital unable to pounce. And now inside the Capital 22, Auckland go. But they give away possession. Dane Lett, I believe it was, winning possession back for Capital, who then lose it once more. It's going to be Capital possession. Yeah, right-hand flank. They'll change the point of attack. They'll come towards this left-hand side. Near side near our commentary position. And with a nice little move there, Jordan Cohen finding a bit of space and earning a free hit. Now Capital will change the point of attack once more. They feinted to come towards the right, and they might switch back to the left. No, indeed, they will keep coming right. Just playing towards the two defenders there as Auckland don't fully press, giving the Capital defenders a bit of space to work in to. Now looking towards the Capital 22. Nice little turn on the 22, making his way inside the circle of Capital. Shot just wide.
And again, that was interesting. Just as they were building up, they created a bit of space on this left-hand side. Auckland defence moved in, shut that down. Capital went across the centre and in. And again, rewarded with, could have been a good shot on goal. Just topped the ball a little bit there. But Capital really creating chances. Again, the left-hand side got some space and doing well there. But Auckland now heading back into their attack, moving the ball back to halfway.
Kurt Lovett with that shot just wide. Didn't quite get hold of it as he would have liked to. Lovely turn, though, on the 22 to free up a bit of space and to create that goal-scoring opportunity. Now bundled over there, big contact, and it's Lovett doing the rampaging work on his Auckland opposite. So Auckland this time winning the free hit. To take it as Hamish McGeorge, and he'll go back to his 22, and Auckland just looking to reset. Capital not coming with the full press this time. This is where they will harass, around that midfield area. And it's Marcus Child who does wonderfully to get out of it. Lovely stick control that time. And then just resetting. And Auckland make their way inside Capital's territory. Big long ball attempted. It's going to make its way into the circle, but Capital win the race to it. Now can they clear their own lines? Is that deep in that right-hand corner?
Yep, nice. That's good passing. 2 passes in there at halfway again. This is probably what we saw from Auckland in the first half, and now Capital are managing to control some possession and make some real gains in territory with some good accurate passing.
Jordan Cohen giving it up to Dane Lett. Dane Lett coming onto the ball, but then dispossessed well by Matai Wells. And Auckland cough it up. So back of the stick of the Capital Cobras. They make their way to this left-hand side. Now looking for the penetrating ball onto the circle edge. Well controlled on the circle edge by Capital. Little room to work with, but well done by Liam Mortimer, who eventually gives up possession. And Auckland with the overhead to restart. Now Capital quickly win it back from that overhead. Let now with a searching, probing ball, unable to find a Capital stick. Auckland, though, have it, but it's back inside their 22. They get outside the 22 this time, but well closed out by Capital, but now a chance to relieve a bit of pressure.
Really did well to get that ball out of there. Capital had 4 players around the Auckland defensive unit there, and just a very accurate pass got them out of trouble, so they'll be pleased with that.
Auckland now looking a bit more confident on the ball. As Capital aren't going with that full press now. They're making it very congested in midfield. There's a bit more time, and now they are coming with that press. Capital into the 22 of Auckland. Comfortable with these 1 or 2 touch passes at the moment. Now a bit of pressure coming on Auckland once again in a corner. It's a lot harder, obviously, to get out of. That one finding a foot of a Capital player. Well done by Auckland as they earn a free hit and a chance to relieve that pressure valve once more. Now trying to change the point of attack, and Capital very close to intercepting. Joe Hanks with a bit of space down this right flank. He finds a teammate on halfway. That's Marcus Child, the captain for Auckland, who goes back. Now back on the stick of Child. Child, reverse stick, opens up the play wonderfully. That's a great ball across the field.
There's some real skill on display there, isn't there?
Halfway now, Auckland. Now it all because of that Marcus Child reverse stick ball. It opens up now for the Auckland as they go route one. It's the goal scorer, one of the Auckland goal scorers in Kingston. And then he loses ball, and Capital straight down the other end. Capital, opportunity down this left flank. Can they get a circle penetration? Yes, they do, into the circle, but can't keep hold of possession. Auckland with the timely interception. Now they make their way back over halfway. End-to-end stuff here at the Tauranga Hockey Centre in the Ford National Hockey League. Men's Challenge Shield action. Auckland, top of the table. They're going to the Challenge Shield final tomorrow. Capital Cobras, the defending champions, won't be there as the keeper comes out to try and dispossess the Auckland player. And that got a bit messy. I think we're going to have a bit of a time out there while the official makes sure that nothing untoward happens between the Auckland and Capital players. And there wasn't going to be anything anyway.
It's interesting to see that Auckland have just a couple of times now pushed a player high inside the attacking circle and looking for that longer quick ball through. Whereas in that time when they got the ball in the circle, they took their time and built their attack as they have done in the past successfully.
There's Capital now trying to find some space down this right flank, making their way inside that 22 as we're over halfway through this third period. It's probably the longest time we haven't had a goal in this game. 2 in the first period, another 2 in the second period. Yet to be a goal so far in this, the third quarter. A very tightly fought contest, despite what the score suggests. Capital have had a penalty stroke saved as well. Now Auckland rampaging down this right-hand flank, looking for the ball inside the circle. Comes off a Wellington player, I believe. It's going to be a long corner, so Auckland was still in possession. Trying to work his way into the circle is Simon Child.
Brenton, I know that you've covered a lot of basketball, and oftentimes, and your knowledge is much greater than mine. Often when they come out of defensive unit, it's a stroll up to halfway and then into their patterns in that. And what have you seen in the hockey? And is there a similar approach that you've seen here, or is it very much more structured the whole way up?
Well, it differs, doesn't it? And every coach, and I suppose all teams have to be able to mix it up, don't they? Otherwise, you're not going to be successful. So you do see I suppose what you'd term in basketball a fast break and that kind of offense, but then you also do see the structured and really formulated build-up as well in the game of hockey, and that's that variation which is good to see. And we've seen from both sides here as well. We've seen Auckland trying to get that quick outlet a couple of times, but majority of it has been pretty methodical, working through their systems, waiting for the gap to open up, and then Capital have tried to seize on Auckland errors. They've pressed high and tried to break on the counter, and now Capital have had some success down that left-hand side. That time Dane Lett with a reverse stick pass, trying to go across field, unable to find it, and it's going to be a free hit to Auckland.
It just seems to be a bit of anxiety creeping into the game. You know, we've seen a bit of talk from the players. There's a bit of physicality coming into the game.
Green card as well, the official to one of the Capital players.
Again, if we're referring to basketball, I'm always fascinated with the psychology of the players because they can score so often and so quickly. There's no time saying we're down a goal or two for long periods of time. They can get back into it, so it must be enabling to them to be able to get back on the scoreboard, whereas here it can take a lot longer and the momentum can swing one way and stay there. If you've spoken to the basketball players, how do they manage that mental side of the game when it can chop and change so very quickly?
Well, I suppose you had an example with the Tall Blacks as well, where they, at the recent World Cup, were deliberately playing with an up-tempo style of play because they thought that was their best way, and they actually ended up being the highest scoring team in the whole basketball World Cup. Yeah. And so, but they realised that they weren't going to be able to defend a lot. They were trying to tire out the opposition and to give themselves better opportunities to score, and they thought that was the best way to do it, to play with a real high up-tempo offense. So I suppose it's all about what the coach wants. The coach in basketball probably has more of a say than nearly any other sport in describing exactly what happens, because you can call timeouts at all, so you can get the coach can get players to run exactly the play that he'd drawn up, because there are so many breaks in play, where hockey and a lot of other sports, you often have to just play what you're given, and isn't sometimes as structured in that way. You're not able to run a set play, for instance, off just normal broken play. And so it's more about having everything within you to be able to know that what certain opportunities arise, I do this, etc. And so we have that in the game of hockey, and it's two great examples of it so far in the Women's K Cup match earlier today, in which Canterbury won. They beat North Harbour earlier, if you're just joining us on our coverage here of the Ford National Hockey League, but it wasn't enough for Canterbury to get through to the final, and it will be North Harbour taking on Northland in the final. North Harbour trying to go back-to-back. Northland trying to win their maiden K Cup title, which will be a massive achievement for them. We'll have that final live stream for you, of course, tomorrow. Men's Challenge Shield action right in front of us, Auckland and Capital, and Auckland already through to the final. They'll play North Harbour, who are no doubt watching this one intently. Capital, the defending champions, they're going to be playing Canterbury for bronze. And again, we will have those games for you as well. This is just the second of 8 games we're bringing to you here on our Hockey New Zealand live stream.
It was interesting you mentioned the structures with basketball. I had a fascinating chat yesterday with Chris Leslie from Canterbury Hockey. He's the high performance manager down there. And we were discussing the pace of game plans and how they change it, and with the game being in quarters and the such like. And he was talking a little bit about, he's here as a technical advisor at the moment. He's saying, so he's mic'd up, wide up at the end of the field, and he's giving in, views and instructions and opinions through the whole of the game. He said so they're changing their game without the stop.
Almost an opportunity for Capital. Well done, Auckland.
So he was saying that they're tweaking their game almost live as they go along. They'll go in with a plan on what they want to do, but he said, look, if the opposition surprise us with something, we've got to be ready to change that. And again, it must be often with basketball, they talk about it, and Gridiron's one game that people often talk about. They said at its best, it's human chess. And when you get that opportunity to stop a game and say, right, we're going to do this and this, whereas, of course, in this environment and in most sports, you don't get the stoppages to allow you to do that. But and
that's what hockey moving to quarters has done as well. It's brought more of that strategy in, and the games are obviously a lot faster than they were under the half format. Longer games, of course, and just these quarters, which they have now 15 minutes, has made the game very, very quick. And because of that, it really tests the physical nature of the players. And usually when players tire, they're more prone to make mistakes, and there's more opportunities in that respect as well. So we're seeing more goals as well under this structure. And like you talked about before, Nigel, with the officials willing to allow a bit more to play on, makes it a quicker, faster, more entertaining game for all of us to watch and enjoy as well. And it's now working down this left-hand side up Capital. They work their way now into the centre, back to this left-hand side, just on the baseline. Good patient build-up. If they got an opportunity to get a shot on goal, it's just going to go wide, but it will remain Capital, so it must have come off.
Must have got a touch
off
on there, the
keeper. Yep. Zayden Hoot again going to his right side, where he made a great save and a penalty stroke off Dane Lett earned this game. But that was a great build-up by Capital, finding the open man, and nice build-up as they made their way into the area in front of goal. Had the chance, but unable to get past the Auckland keeper.
It was either if it was his stick, which he used to great effect in saving the penalty shot in the second quarter, or his foot there, but very quick reflexes on his right-hand side there.
As that's quarter time, it's crept up on us. That quarter just flew by. So 3 quarters gone here at the Tauranga Hockey Centre in Blake Park, Mount Maunganui. This men's Challenge Shield matchup between Auckland and the Ricoh Capital Cobras. As Auckland still leading 3-1. That was the halftime score. Auckland struck twice in the opening quarter. Then a third time, moments after the restart in the second period. Capital then had a penalty stroke save before scoring their first goal of the game. And now with just 15 minutes remaining, Auckland still with that 2-goal advantage, 3-1.
Yeah, it's interesting that in that quarter, they didn't have the scoring opportunities that they had created early on. Will that be a concern to the Auckland side, or again, have they just tailed off a bit in there? I just wonder whether the Auckland side, looking towards tomorrow's game, whether they need to regain a bit of confidence and momentum and start creating scoring opportunities again for themselves. They'd be probably disappointed if they just tail off too much from here. It'll be interesting to see if they really reassert themselves.
Yeah, consciously or not, they have clocked off a bit, I think, and thinking about their final tomorrow. They know they're in. There's nothing to really play for here. They're 2 goals up in this game as well. And I suppose they haven't quite had the mindset of a team that's playing for a place in the final, or certainly haven't. And
if they're standing here tomorrow holding the Challenge Shield up happily, they can tell me I know nothing at all about hockey, which might not be too far from the truth, but it's going to be interesting to see where they head in this final quarter. Just 15 minutes of hockey left here in this game at Tauranga Hockey Centre. Yeah, and 15 minutes before we find out for sure what these sides are capable of, whether Capital can force their way back in the game. They've
been good to be a bit closer than this. They dominated the second period in particular. We're very unfortunate just to come out of that 1-1 that second period and make it 3-1. Had a penalty stroke saved, as I mentioned. And now Rico Capital Cobras looking to close this one out on a high. Of course, they've got a bronze medal match against Canterbury to prepare for as well.
Interesting, they're using that overhead ball again, which they did to start the third quarter. So they're looking to get deep into territory.
Opportunity for Auckland. And well done, the keeper coming out to close out the Auckland striker. And that was necessary as well because, again, we could have had an uncontested Auckland shot in the circle. But it wasn't to be. But we're going to have a penalty corner for Auckland.
You know, I don't have a stopwatch on me, but it'll be interesting to see how quickly that ball went from the overhead down into the Auckland 22 to Auckland having a shot on goal. Not very long afterwards.
It was about 15 seconds at the absolute maximum from the start of the quarter. It was back down there. And great work by John Forsyth and the Capital Cobras goal to come out and close out that time on the Auckland player. I think it was Nick Finlayson. Now will be the Auckland captain and Marcus Child to take this penalty corner to deliver for his attackers. What can they do on the circle edge? He delivers nicely trapped. Auckland with a great opportunity and delivered. That time, number 11 again, Hamish McGeorge. He has his second and wonderfully worked by the Auckland team.
Yeah, that penalty corner battery is working so well on that right-hand side, isn't it?
Lovely trap. The drag over the top of the diving keeper.
That's just, you know, just it's precision and power, just coupling there. And again, two goes, 2 goals. You've got to be happy with that sort of conversion rate.
Oh, completely. And two different efforts as well. The first from McGeorge went low to the keeper's right this time, going over the top of the hapless keeper. So Auckland have their 4th, re-establishing that 3-goal margin. 4-1 they lead just moments into this period, and just like the second quarter, striking almost immediately, and heads just naturally have to drop for Capital, but they didn't in that second. We'll see how they respond now. There's Auckland trying to go back to work, unable to keep the ball inside the baseline, so Capital will be able to clear, and they do so with great intensity as well. They want to play on. They're not done yet. They can't break through the Auckland press, though. That time Simon Child come out with the interception, and then Simon Child is fouled from behind.
Yep.
Is it going to be did they signal stroke there?
No, penalty corner.
Penalty corner.
But then there's going to be yellow card.
Yeah, yellow card as he came to try and defend Child from behind and took out Child as he just went to swing for the shot. Pretty simple decision for the officials.
Absolutely.
And now Auckland, who have been deadly from set piece, as you mentioned, Nigel, this penalty corner battery, discussing things, and will it be a 3rd for Hamish McGeorge? He's going to be in the vicinity, number 11, that's for sure. Marcus Child will take again.
And do they repeat what's worked twice, or they say, right, we better practice something else here while we've got a bit of a buffer? What's coming from Auckland?
Won't want to give too much away as well, with Harbour no doubt watching on ahead of the final. And at this time it's a variation. It goes to number 15, Dwayne Rousel. He has a go, and I think it was defended well that time by Capital. But Auckland still with possession from it. So 2 from 3 now at PC time for Auckland. Well done, Capital.
They're back controlling this game now, aren't they?
Yeah, spring in their step, isn't there, after that goal. I think, no doubt, the coaches and the senior players, the likes of the Childs, would have said, look, guys, we've got to try and reassert some control of this game after, the third quarter was to and fro. They weren't really outplayed massively by Capital, but Capital probably had more of the impetus. And then after certainly a great second quarter from them, so now Auckland just re-establishing their control of the game, their grip on possession, which they struggled with for a couple of quarters. Now working inside the circle, looking across goal, looking just for that deflection. It's away, looking for the outstretched stick of Ty Wells.
Taking from a similar spot on the other side of the field, but a turnover of possession there for Capital.
Now Capital looking to break. Lots of Auckland bodies around though, and they break up the play initially, but Capital somehow still with it. and they will earn a free hit as well.
Bit
Taken
narrow
by
in the
Muskimin.
end, so the outlet will be trying to look for someone out wide. They're not quite there yet, so there we go. Finally finding some.
Goes back to Trent Lett, and now comes forward. Muskimin looking out left, and comes to Van Workum. Van Workum making his way towards the circle edge, giving up a free hit. As he looked to shepherd the ball there, I think was what being called. Now Auckland making their way over halfway. Simon Child, who's grown as this game has, slips a ball through for a teammate just working that baseline, unable to beat the keeper, and then Simon Child gives up a free hit and has a bit of a chance to his teammate, bit of a chat to his teammate, say where was the return ball.
Yeah, he just seems to. It's like he's in slow motion compared to the other players. Just seems to have so much time on the ball. Knows exactly what he's doing, what he wants to do, and again created the opportunity there, and then was looking for a player inside that didn't quite transpire. But just when you see a player of that level, just like so they've just got so much time and space, and looks very calm in what he's doing.
Yeah, it's a sign of a great player, isn't it? And for him, this probably does feel slow. Having played 274 games for New Zealand at the very highest level international hockey, played around the world, obviously for a long time, multiple Olympics and Commonwealth Games. Coming back, obviously, from that hip injury, and it's great to see him back out there representing Auckland as well.
We're fortunate in the sport of hockey is one thing with players that careers can go longer because it's not quite the same sort of physical impact some other sports will have on players. And very fortunate, I think, in hockey that players look to, as their career's moving towards the end, they can keep going and they want to do what they can for their province and guide things through. And you'll often hear stories of senior players who are just casually coerced into one more season, and you could imagine for this Auckland side, you can see the benefit of having Simon Child in there, and whenever he does step away, there'll be a number of players that are going to have their games increased in skill and knowledge and courtesy of having someone around them like that, and there's a real benefit to our sport when that can happen.
Yeah, we saw that in the women's action earlier today and throughout the last 8 days as well, with Kayla Whitelock and Emily Gaddam, well retired from international hockey with the Black Sticks, but those former captains both turning out for Central in this competition, and we'll have their bronze medal match in the Women's K Cup for you tomorrow as well, with Simon Child again on the ball for Auckland, just knocking it back now. Dwayne Rousel will look to change the point of attack, looking out to this right-hand side, and that goes to Xander Fraser. Xander Fraser now making his way circle edge. Lovely little dribble before he is held up rather robustly by Trent Lett. Now Auckland move their way back to halfway. Rousel just changing the point of attack, and I think he'll get possession back here as some celebrations on the opposing turf.
2 turfs here at the Tauranga Hockey Centre at the moment. A third under construction. It was hoped to have it ready in time for this tournament, but the weather gods thought otherwise, and it was the construction sort of been held off a bit to make sure that when the surface is laid, it's done in good conditions, and it will stay. Just too wet and cold here in Tauranga over winter to try putting a third turf down. Very fortunate to have that on our way here.
Yeah, we'll have that next year, of course, because it won't be the National Hockey League in its current format. It's going to be changing next year, but we will be playing here, that new tournament, which will be becoming a bit more about the associations, the regions we have now.
And interesting, it's one thing we note with hockey is the game on the field changes and evolves all the time, and in and around the turf, on how we run tournaments, how we run things, that's changing all the time as well. Nothing sits still for too long, that's for sure.
Approaching the halfway stage of this final quarter. Still Auckland 4, leading Capital 1. So the defending champion Capital Cobras won their 7th title in 2018. They won't be retaining that title in 2019, but they'll have a chance to claim a bronze tomorrow. As have they pulled the keeper? Have they, Capital, or just changed their keeper? We have to wait until it pans back. Obviously, chasing goals here, Capital. It's Auckland, who have taken nearly all their opportunities. 4-1 They lead Capital Cobras. As we've just sent Nigel around the corner.
Both keepers have gone.
Both keepers gone. So, well, as we can see there, Auckland don't have their keeper.
Yep.
So, preparing, I suppose, for that possibility. And so, both keepers pulled, and that made it relatively straightforward for
absolutely.
Capital once they made their way around the circle. A lovely, well-taken goal, as you saw there from our replay. Now the keeper comes out. Oh, we'll put you back in now.
Yep, there we go.
So, Bazaden Hoot, who saved that penalty stroke earlier, pulled momentarily, and Capital pounced. I assume Capital is still without theirs, though, so they're playing with the extra outfield, as you can see there, as the goal is unattended.
Again, we talked about the development of hockey and some of the rules that have changed, the game going to quarters and that, and then strategically that's one thing that can happen at times. You can take it, because there are revolving subs, no limitation on the number of subs that you have. You can take your keeper off if you're chasing a goal and put another attacking player on. You could do that for a couple of minutes if you feel like it, or you might do it for a quarter, whatever you think's going to work. But again, it just adds another layer to what can happen in this game.
And that extra player can make such a difference as well. Yep. It really does feel like you're playing against more than just one extra player at times.
Yep.
And so they pulled the keeper, Capital, to create that extra man. Auckland decided to match them momentarily, saying, we're not going to give you an extra man. We'll play with an extra outfield too. We'll pull our keeper. And well, it backfired for Auckland because Capital scored immediately. So Auckland deciding, well, we'll put our keeper back on. We'll see if we can play an outfielder down against this Capital Cobras team. Lead, which was 3, back to 2.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the game, whether this was an opportunity for Auckland to try things, to experiment, or to practice things for the final tomorrow. And it looks like they might have done that momentarily, and then have gone back to form. But they certainly in this final quarter, Brenton, have we talked about how they looked a bit flat at times in that third. Got the spring in their step now. The work rate's high. The energy levels look to be higher. And, as constant, they got a reward from that penalty corner. And they're working hard to defend this.
Capital. For a searching ball in the circle. It does, but unable to find a Capital stick. Came out off Auckland, though. So Capital retain possession. Muskimmin quickly gets us back underway. Going across the circle there. Capital thought there was an Auckland foot, not called by the officials. So now Auckland with the overhead, looking deep and pushing Capital back into their left-hand corner. And quickly played on though, Capital. Not going to die wondering as Dane Lett for Capital. Looks long. Finds an Auckland stick though, and Auckland now playing out of their own half, getting over halfway.
A lead heading into the circle. Will that ball get in there, this right-hand side?
Yeah, trying to find him there. Lovely little dribble. I'm going to say that was a clean tackle. Wow.
Yeah, and just solid. Just stood his ground.
Officials rewarding the tackle there, saying, no, the contact was fine because you cleanly got the ball, or judged to be anyway. So now Capital back down the other end. Dane Lett that is. Now he makes his way, or ball makes his way into the circle, but Auckland cut it out. Marcus Child first to it. Now he just strolls out of his 22, then finds a teammate. He's quickly got 2 Capital players on him. That being Jared Panchia, who just draws them in and then manages to get the possession back as the ball goes over the sideline. Now Auckland going all the way back inside their circle. Trying to wind down the clock here.
Yeah,
under 4 minutes remaining. But that's
really
cut out well. Overhead's cut out by Van Workum. And he finds the penetrating ball. Reverse stick option here. It just goes wide. I think that was Jacob Smith for Capital. Big opportunity pretty much on the penalty stroke spot. As we see a replay here. As he managed to turn his man, Jacob Smith, and just goes wide. I think if he got that on target, I think he had Bazaden Hoot beaten.
Yep.
Daniel Harris, in fact, it was. So, Daniel Harris, a big opportunity for Capital. That would have been interesting, a one-goal game.
Yeah, and he did really well to create that opportunity. It was not like he had a yard of space. He created it, when he got that ball and to get a shot away. And again, a game of millimetres, just across a couple of centimetres, perhaps across and that was looking like it could have been a goal. So the Capital Cobras not sitting still with under 3 minutes left in this game today.
It's been an end-to-end game, a lot of circle action. That's what we love to see. Both sides certainly playing in the right spirit. You forgive Capital if they let their heads drop after going 3-0 down rather cruelly against a very clinical Auckland side. And then when the penalty stroke was saved, you'd think, well, this is just not our day. But they've continued to fight. And since then, they're leading 2-1. Auckland's goal coming from a very well executed penalty corner, but Capital certainly have had the better of the opportunities. They've harassed the Auckland side, and now looking for one more goal to close out this game, and who knows,
Auckland
not out of the running for an equaliser just yet.
In the last couple of minutes, look to have employing some tactics to slow the game down a little. You'll see if there's a penalty awarded, they're a bit slow to get out of the way at times, and just not rushing to take their own, so they're looking to control the pace of the game a little. Again, which is, if they're in a final, defending the sort of lead, and with a side against them, good things to be in touch with. Again, not going to rush up to this with just over a minute 37 to go here.
Yeah, they'll take their time. Yep. Rouse will go further back into his 22. Now it works nicely down that side by Joe Hanks, but turned over. Skimming now for Capital. Inside the circle now are the Cobras. Can they find an opening? Oh, how has that not found its way into the goal? I do not know. It bobbled up.
It wasn't for
right in front of goal. Capital unable to find the stick to knock it past Bezadenhout, and it remains 4-2 somehow. Only a minute remaining here now. And this men's Challenge Shield game, and Auckland come up with a timely interception. Well, that should do it now. Time running out on this Capital side, but they will not give up. Van Workum with an interception that time for Capital. Goes over the sideline, but it remains Capital ball. Lovely little dribble there. Skimming with an opportunity, but whistle blown earlier.
He's looked good in this game, especially in the second half of this game, Harry Miskimen. He's really pushed himself forward, and it just has been a real strength of their game. Distribution's been very good. Auckland will
now look long as the clock ticks away here at the Tauranga Hockey Centre. And this men's Challenge Shield game, both sides already knew their fate before it, but it hasn't impacted them. It's been a thrilling game of hockey. It's shake hands time. That's it for this men's Challenge Shield game between Auckland and Capital. It's Auckland who have run out 4-2 winners over Capital. We'll see both sides again, though, tomorrow. Auckland will be taking part in the Challenge Shield final up against North Harbour. Capital to play for bronze, the defending champs, up against Canterbury. A thrilling game of hockey. Auckland led 3-0. Capital fought their way back, but in the end, Auckland too good. 4-2. They take it. And Nigel, we've got some thrilling hockey still to come today, but that's a pretty good game considering, in many respects, it was a dead rubber.
Yeah, absolutely. I found it fascinating how the game changed as it went along. And again, the players certainly didn't drive with the handbrake on, and momentum switched for the sides. An interesting test. I think Auckland will be pleased to have been challenged so much just before a final. They'll get a lot out of that. The Capital players will be pleased with the times when they did control the game and push themselves forward. But I think Auckland, confidence going into tomorrow. They'll be concerned about that third quarter. They looked a little bit out of the game, but then they flicked that switch in the fourth quarter and looked to have real control over that game. And other than the goal when there was no goalkeeper, they looked to be pretty good. So I think they will be confident about going into tomorrow's final. And that should be a good game of hockey again, in good conditions again at Tauranga Hockey Centre.
Yeah, that's the end of round robin here at the Ford National Hockey League. A big thank you to Ford, naming rights sponsor of the Ford National Hockey League, Tauranga City Council, TECT, Trillion Trust, Educare, Kookaburra and Vantage, principal partner of Hockey New Zealand. We'll be back at 4:30 p.m. though today. We have the Women's National Senior Tournament Final. It is Tauranga up against Tasman. Myself, Brenton Vanessa-Roy. I'll be joined by Anita McLaren then. A big thank you to Nigel Gregory for his expert comments.
My
See
pleasure.
you soon.
Hockey New Zealand's coverage of the Ford National Hockey League is proudly brought to you by Ford New Zealand in association with our hosts, Tauranga Hockey and the Tauranga City Council. And thanks to key partners TECT, Trillion Trust, Educare, and Vantage Windows and Doors, principal partner of Hockey New Zealand.